Bitcoin started 2020 at $7,200. It ended the year at nearly $30,000, and it broke $40,000 in the early days of 2021. Some think we've seen the high watermark for the year for the cryptocurrency. ARK Invest CEO, founder and CIO Cathie does not agree. If you're a subscriber, well, welcome back to Investing View. But if you're new to this channel and you want to enjoy more of our engaging content, make sure to click that subscribe button and use that trigger finger by smashing that like button. Now, let's get into it. Bitcoin rallied back above $50,000 on February 24th, aided by supportive comments from ARK Investment Management's Cathie. The largest cryptocurrency advanced as much as 5.4% to about $50,557 in Asian trading. The rebound follows a tough week for the token, including a drop to $45,000 that revived doubts about the durability of a breathtaking and volatile five-fold surge over the past year. Overall investor sentiment has also been boosted by comments Tuesday from Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, who signaled the central bank is nowhere close to unwinding its easy policy. Cryptocurrencies have been buoyed by a tide of monetary and fiscal stimulus to fight the impact of the pandemic. Wood, the superstar head of ARK, said in a Bloomberg interview she's very positive on Bitcoin, very happy to see a healthy correction here. Bitcoin remains lower than its recent record of about $58,350, but the pullback so far has been relatively modest, Bespoke Investment Group wrote in a blog post. The cryptocurrency rally is at the center of one of the hottest debates in financial markets. Believers see an emerging asset class being embraced by long-term investors, not just speculators. Critics fear Bitcoin is in a bubble that will inevitably burst. We believe that the institutional behavior and moves recently have been fascinating, Wood told Yahoo Finance Presents. We have been expecting institutions to start moving into Bitcoin and other crypto assets, but primarily Bitcoin, the most secure of the blockchains. Because if you look at the correlation of Bitcoin's performance relative to any other asset class, it has the lowest correlation, meaning if you buy some Bitcoin, you will further diversify your portfolio and increase your returns with lower risk. Bitcoin fundamentals and preparing for institutions are just two bullet points in ARK's Big Ideas 2021 research. The annual report is Wood's and team's deepest dive to identify large-scale investment opportunities by focusing on those they believe to be the leaders, enablers, and beneficiaries of disruptive innovation. It's no surprise that electric vehicles still feature prominently in ARK's look at the year ahead. Tesla is the largest holding in the firm's flagship ARK Innovation Fund. The investment helped put the firm on the map. Wood sees more growth ahead for the space given news from General Motors' move to electric Faraday Futures SPAC. She estimates EV unit sales to go from around 2.2 million in 2020 to 40 million in 2025. Quote, all of these announcements have increased our confidence that the capital markets are going to finance this transition from internal combustion engine to electric, she said. That's great. While ARK sees Tesla as the top name in the US and believes the brand is strong in China, there may be room for a rival to make inroads. Quote, if I had to give you which of the Chinese names we have the highest conviction in, it's probably Baidu, she said. That had been a hard sell for me because their search business was falling apart, and it did seem to me with more than 150 or 200 electric vehicle manufacturers, many being government subsidized, that there would be a bloodbath. However, the company does have a uniquely powerful endorsement. Quote, the government has deemed Baidu the autonomous platform for China, she said. We weren't sure whether to believe that or not, or if it would get caught up in the carnage, but it does seem to be doing something very interesting. Bitcoin is attracting the eyes of large investors and prominent companies. 2020 has become the starting point of Bitcoin institutionalization. Differently called the king of cryptocurrencies in 2020 and at the beginning of 2021, Bitcoin has reached prices never seen before in its history of existence. Knowing that the price of Bitcoin is affected by supply and demand, investors consider that once Bitcoin reaches the figure of 21 million BTC in circulation, then its price will increase by a large amount, given that there will be no more supply. So, the more demand there will be, the more the price will increase. The technology designed for Bitcoin is so sophisticated. Bitcoin is produced through mining. Mining computers authenticate blocks of transactions by competing to solve complicated mathematical problems every 10 minutes. The first miner to solve the problem and clear the transaction gets rewarded with new Bitcoins. Every 4 years, Bitcoin goes through a process called halving. Halving Bitcoin reduces the rate at which new coins are created. In May 2020, Bitcoin went through a third halving in its history, which means its supply is getting restricted even more. On top of that, we have PayPal allowing its users to buy cryptocurrencies in their platform and purchase goods using cryptocurrencies as a payment form. Also, Large, credible companies invested massive amounts of money in Bitcoin, such as MicroStrategy with $1.3 billion. So Bitcoin supply is declining, and we are heading to a point where there will be no supply anymore. There will only be demand for Bitcoin, which means the price can only increase. Analysts believe that Bitcoin could reach figures like $100,000, $500,000, or even $1 million. But is that a possibility, or is it just an exaggeration? The creator of Stock to Flow, S2F, popular Bitcoin prediction model Plan B tweeted in November 2020 that Bitcoin could hit $100,000 by December 2021. According to Plan B, there is clear evidence that Bitcoin supply is decreasing. He mentioned that he trusts his model in his tweet, and that Bitcoin will tap 100,000 to 288,000 before December 2021. As mentioned, Bitcoin halving occurred on May 11, 2020, restricting supply even more by decreasing the rate at which new coins are being created. Therefore, Bitcoin could increase in price. Furthermore, Brian Estes, Chief Investment Officer at hedge fund of the Chain Capital, said that for Bitcoin going from $18,000 to $100,000 in 1 year is not a stretch. Estes predicts Bitcoin could hit between $100,000 and $288,000 by the very end of 2021. Quote, "I have seen Bitcoin go up 10 times, 20 times, 30 times in a year, so going up 5 times is not a big deal," Estes said. Moreover, a senior analyst at US-based financial giant Citibank, Tom Fitzpatrick, has written a report outlining similarities between the 1970s gold market and Bitcoin. Fitzpatrick said that Bitcoin could climb as high as $318,000 by the end of 2021, indicating its limited supply, cross-borders ease of movement, and enigmatic ownership. Also, JP Morgan said in a note that Bitcoin could rise to $146,000 in the long term as it competes with gold. JP Morgan sees Bitcoin as an alternative currency, with millennial investors preferring the digital gold over traditional gold and stimulating demand for the cryptocurrency. Analysts believe that Bitcoin could go way beyond $100,000 towards the $400,000 mark. Bitcoin could hit $400,000, the founder and CEO of ARK Invest, Catherine Wood, said that his institutional demand for Bitcoin could drive Bitcoin's price to $400,000. Catherine said the price of Bitcoin could rise to somewhere in the $400,000 to $500,000 range. Woods further pointed out that Bitcoin is the most recognized currency of the crypto asset ecosystem, equivalent to the dollar in the fiat currency system. Additionally, during an interview with podcast host Peter McCormick, Gemini crypto exchange founders Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss said that Bitcoin could eventually hit $500K. Quote, "The question in our mind is not so much does it get to 500,000, but how quickly," Tyler Winklevoss said during the podcast. "I would sort of contend that $500,000 Bitcoin is actually pretty conservative, and the game hasn't even really started," Cameron added. The twin brothers said that Bitcoin institutionalization has begun, but this is still the early stage as Wall Street hasn't been involved yet. Quote, "Wall Street is not here yet. Institutions aren't in Bitcoin right now. It's been a retail phenomenon for the last decade. So Wall Street talks about it, they're aware of Bitcoin, but they're not really in it from our perspective. But it's starting to happen," Tyler Winklevoss said. What can you say about Wood's Bitcoin prediction? Let us know down below in the comments. And hey, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so we can continue giving you the best content. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.